Hey, hi, hello. I want you to listen to this.
Hey, wanted to address this whenever I did the Q&A live stream so I could better explain it on a bigger platform live, but I woke up to a ton of DMs from people and I thought I should do it right away. For those of you who don't know, primarily I've done true horror story narration for years on my channel. The stories are sent in by my viewers, they write all of it, and I narrate their story to share their experience and what they've gone through with the world. These are real life experiences of, real shit that people go through. About a year ago, I was sent in a story from someone who is trans. I was glad to cover this story despite some backlash I might get from, boomers and shit, because I wanted to show the struggles of what trans people go through, and I support trans people. TLDR, the story is about an old Christian woman who was trying to hurt them and do horrible things to them. During the story, the person who is trans is called the D word. In the video, I read the word out loud, and I realize now I shouldn't have done that. I didn't realize the severity of the word, or else I obviously wouldn't have said it. There are over 2,000 comments on the video and none of them mention it. I had no idea this hurt anybody at all, and that's the last thing I want to do. I've taken the video down now, I understand my mistake, and I'm sorry. Thank you to the people trying to teach me about this. Some people were just blankly hating me, but most of the people I've seen have been very reasonable, and I really appreciate that. I'm probably going to get off everything for a little bit. Thank you.
Now, this guy means well. He does. But I hope he sees this video, and I hope anybody who watches this guy's channel, he has over almost 3 million subscribers, he reads these stories that people send in to him about their experiences. And what he described here, he did make a video reading about this person's experience who was being trans, and you have a Christian lady who is anti-trans and is against trans people and against, gay marriage and all that stuff. So very naturally, when you have somebody who is extremely religious like that, they're going to use that type of language to describe in disparaging ways. That is very, very, very normal for people who are super, super religious and intolerant and, racist, homophobic, whatever you want, transphobic, whatever you want to call them. It's no surprise that they would use language like that. But what really upsets me, and this is what I want to talk to people about, because this is something I'm really passionate about, is that this needs to stop. This guy, I'm sorry, corpse husband, you need to stop with this BS. I know you mean well. I know deep down you don't want to hurt anybody, you don't want to offend anybody, but you can't live like this. This level of pandering that you have done here by removing your video and taking the story completely away that you read out of what this person who's trans had to go through is unrealistic, stupid, and you're pandering to these people. You're pandering to the very, 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 very small minority of people who got offended by you using the D word. The D word being dyke. Here's the reality. You, corpse husband, didn't use this word disparaging or degrading towards anybody who was trans or who was gay. You were quoting a story that you were reading off, that's just something that you do for your career. This is your job. You read people's stories and experiences that they go through. What is wrong with that? Can you explain to me why exactly you think it's wrong for you to use the word dyke in the quote of a context of somebody who's being trans and a Christian person is attacking them for being trans? Sit back and think about that. Why are you wrong for quoting what a Christian person said to somebody who is trans? You didn't do anything wrong, man. And it doesn't matter if you have a small minority of people who are upset by you using the word. It's your channel. It's your video. And it's you giving an outlet of that person who's trans an experience to have their story told accurately and realistically. We can't walk around this world pretending like people who are homophobic, transphobic, or whatever doesn't exist, because they do. But by you removing this video, you're actually giving that crazy religious, transphobic woman power over you, because you're taking away that person's experience, that person's story, by removing the video because somebody was offended by you using the D word. It's ridiculous. That is so top tier level pandering. I don't know how you can even still be online at this point. You can't operate like that. It's so, no. And this is what I have with, the internet is such a crazy place. So I have to ask the question, what's going to be next? What is going to be next? Are we never going to be able to watch a movie because you have an actor who plays a homophobic character or a racist character and they use words? Have you ever seen a Tarantino film, right? The actors use certain words. They use F words, they use D words, they use the N word, they use all sorts of different words, but they're actors, right? Are they really racist because they said that? Are they really homophobic because they said a word and they're being acted, they're playing a part, Are they homophobic? Are they racist? The answer is no. They're acting. And anyone with half a brain cell can be able to differentiate between you quoting in a story that this Christian person is calling somebody who's trans a derogatory term, that's not what you believe. Anybody with a brain cell believes that. But of course, the internet runs on this outrage culture of attempting to dismantle and judge anybody who does something that they deem is not okay. But their deeming of something that is not okay is massively skewed because they think that quoting a word of what somebody else experienced and were called is somehow making you homophobic or making you transphobic. It's just ridiculous. And if you had any spine, no offense, corpse husband, you wouldn't remove the video because of that. In fact, I encourage you, you should re-upload the video and you should keep it up there. Absolutely. Because by you deleting this video, because of you quoting the word dyke, you're just giving in to people who are just going to control and get upset in your future content, mind you, because now they know that you're this easy peasy, no spine dude who will remove content even if it's giving justice to the person who's being attacked. You even said so yourself. You wanted to make this video, reading this person's story about being trans, is because you wanted them to have their stories told. So then why would you delete that story and hide that story and hide their experience because of some measly morons who got upset because you used the term dyke in your video in a quote? Think about that. Stop this. I want to swear so bad. What do you guys think? Am I wrong in feeling this way? I mean, if I am wrong, if you think I'm wrong, by all means, I don't really care either way. But like, I want an actual dialogue here because I think this is insane to me. It's insane to me that in 2020 we can't even quote what's an experience of what somebody's going through. Look, I grew up super religious. I was called the F slur quite frequently, and I'll say that word. I don't have any problem saying it. It's just I don't want to say it for monetization's sake. In fact, I already said the word dyke, so probably this won't even be monetized. But who knows, you know? Hell, I'm talking about a trans person, so most likely that won't be monetized either. Like, I can't talk about anything anymore. The point that I'm trying to make here is that you shouldn't censor yourself when it's a real life experience that you went through, okay? And if you do believe in censoring yourself by, like what this corpse guy did, deleting the whole video because he quoted the D word, then it goes to show that I believe, even though you mean well, the internet will see this as an opportunity to dictate your content even more. You think this is just the beginning. It's not. Now that you removed it, people will see that's a weakness with you. That you don't want to hurt anybody, you don't want to offend anybody. But there's a point where you go too far with that. Because no matter what you say, I've been doing this for 10 years. 10 years. I've been on this website. I came on this website as a Christian, a religious boy who believed sex before marriage was wrong. I've been on here a long time, and I've experienced a lot of crazy stuff. I have stories upon stories upon stories of what personal experiences I've dealt with, Christians coming after me when I converted out, because that was my story. I converted out of religion. I came to YouTube with an intent to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, and in the process, I ended up converting out of religion because of abuse that happened in my church on me, okay? And I had a massive influx of Christians who I was friends with turn on me. They called me every type of name you could possibly imagine. Slurs, heretic, heathen, hypocrite. It was bad when I converted out of religion. But am I going to censor myself when the terms and words that they use towards me? They called me the F word quite frequently because for whatever reason, I can have a kind of a high-pitched voice when I get really excited or I'm upset. My voice does kind of go up high. And for some reason, they just called me the F word all the time because of my voice. Because my voice was just naturally, when I was younger, really, really high-pitched. And it still is when I get excited or mad. But it's like, man, come on, just stop. For the love of Christ, can you just upload the video and stick with your guns and not pander to people who are so easily offended by everything? Because you can't live your life like that. If you truly live your life walking around eggshells about everything and hoping that you don't offend somebody, you're never going to be happy with making content. You won't. You can't. You can't operate that way. It makes you miserable because you're always like, well, what if I say this wrong? Or if I say this, so they're going to be offended, they're going to be mad, they're going to be this. You can't do that. Do you know how many people I've pissed off in 10 years? Hundreds of thousands of people. When I converted out of religion, the whole Christian community turned on me. When I've made statements that I support trans people, even though my environment I grew up was really anti-trans. In fact, my church was so anti-trans, I was taught that trans people simply want to harm children. That's what I was taught. I grew up so conservatively, and that belief system was ingrained in my head, and it took so much for me to break that mindset, break that line of thinking. That's just not true. So when I came out and I supported people who are trans, I had more people angry and upset at me. Like, you can't win with hundreds of thousands of people who watch you, and you have 3 million subscribers, so it's probably even worse for you. But stick with your guns and let the person's experience and their story be told in a way that's authentic, realistic, without censoring it. That's all I'm trying to say, because you do a disservice to the person by removing it. And I think it's really bad on your part that you're pandering this much to the internet. And you can look at your replies. Like, for example, look at this. As somebody in the LGBT community who's been called the DNF word in a derogatory manner, in my opinion, context matters. It absolutely does. As a lesbian, I sincerely believe you did nothing wrong. Context matters in things like this. Within the context, it was completely reasonable for you to say things like this. We care for you. We love you. Another person says, if we're going to get offended by you literally reading a story sent to you word for word, they're either 12 or incredibly sheltered. Everyone on YouTube is a target these days. Don't get me wrong, I support every part of the LGBTQ community, but this is ridiculous. You were addressing it, but honestly, the context that you said it by reading out the story, someone who's been called this word, I personally think it was okay, and people using this as an excuse to attack you, but thank you for apologizing so sincerely. I'm legit confused, Dyke. Why is it offensive now? My 2 aunts love that word. That's another way they describe themselves. Like, my whole life growing up, anytime someone asked me if they were lesbians, yeah, we're dykes. When did that become offensive? Like, clearly I'm not the only one who thinks this way. And just because people agree with me on Twitter doesn't make me right. I've used the example on this channel before. I have said that if you come on the internet and I make a video about how I like dogs, I'm a dog and a cat owner, but I like dogs more than cats, some person on the internet is going to be so pissed off that they're going to say that I hate cats, even though I never said that. I own a cat, but because I prefer dogs more than cats, I clearly hate cats, and I hate cats with a passion, and I'll never have a cat, even though I own a cat. Like, I'm serious. That's how the internet works. Like, you can't operate on the internet without offending somebody, without hurting somebody. Look at Jenna Marbles, for example. Everybody loves Jenna Marbles, and people were using things from years ago, and she left the internet because of it. That's the type of environment we're on. We can't pander to people like that, guys. We cannot. We gotta stand strong and not pander to this crowd of people who just want to be upset and offended and cry about everything. I don't have anything else to say.